openers?
Oh, wow.
As a player
That's a
or
tough
coach,
one.
do you have some
That's a
that
tough
stick
one. For whatever reason, my freshman year, playing, we played Texas A&M down there, and no one gave us a chance to win, and we went down there and beat them. And so that was way, way back. I'm pretty sure it was my freshman year. It might have been my sophomore year, but I'm pretty sure it was my freshman year. Yeah, A&M.
Good way to start.
78. So how about that for a memory?
Did you play, or were you a special teams?
Special teams guy.
Okay.
Yeah, special teams guy.
Any as a coach that stick out?
Openers as a coach. Well, obviously the first one is as a head coach against Arizona. Pretty sure it was Arizona. That was the.
Sounds right.
That was the opener, I believe, that year. That was a tough, hard-fought game. That again, I think we were the underdogs and came out with a victory. So that one was very positive. Michigan. We opened with Michigan twice.
Yes.
Twice. Yeah. So
Once
those two,
up there, once down.
up there, once down here. So those two are great memories as well. So there's a few.
Thank you.
FCS teams tend to win a game every once in a while in these openers. I mean, how do you?
Every year they do.
Yeah. How do you help your team not kind of get in and say this is an FCS team?
Well, first of all, we haven't focused on anything but our season opener. We haven't talked about anything besides North Dakota. Secondly, they're a good football team. You put on the tape, and they won a bunch of games last year, went to the playoffs, and they got virtually everybody back. So it's a very good football team, and our guys respect that and understand that. And I've sensed no lack of focus or concentration or any of that stuff. I feel these guys are right on task.
How are your tight ends coming along? I saw Hanley out here a little bit.
Slowly but surely. Yeah, we'll see what happens. It'll be maybe even a game day decision.
How's your offensive line coming along? You said you had your 5.
Mm-hmm.
Are you set with positions yet, or is that still
Yeah, I
up in the
think
air?
it's right now. It's looking like Darren's going to stay out at tackle and like an inside.
How about kickers?
Kicker is still going on. The battle is still going on. It looks like Mitch will kick off. He's been outstanding kicking off all fall camp, as well as handle the punting duties, obviously. And then Shaden and Matt are battling still, and it might go all the way to 2 days before the game.
Anything you could see or think of that would ultimately decide in a practice setting who you would go with?
We're charting every kick, every situation, grading the get-off time, the trajectory. Everything is being completely analyzed, and so it's a pretty good body of work that we've accumulated. And it's a tight race, and it's tight enough where they're going to continue competing up until probably Tuesday of next week.
Are your returners set, punt and kick?
Mm-hmm. Kyle Folks, kickoff, and Booby Hobbs, punt.
How are the coaches looking? Are they ready?
Everyone but Scally is probably ready. His mind's wandering a little bit, but they've done a nice job. I think the offense, relative to putting in essentially a whole new scheme, even though philosophically it's not a huge departure, but there's a lot to learn, and I think our players and coaches handled it very well.
So you talk about how Tyler had the running ability, and that maybe set him apart. Are you?
He actually had a higher completion percentage also during fall camp.
Okay.
So it's not just that.
So that leads me to my question. When would you want him to run?
Well, I think it's determined on what's happening in front of him. I mean, when he extends the play and it's a throw, it's a pass play that's been called. You want him to keep his eyes downfield and try to find somebody. However, if the thing opens up like the Red Sea, like it does at times, then you want to pull it down and run. So it's almost just an instinctive thing, and he's got to make those decisions on the run.
Have you had to coach him up on getting down and not,
Yeah, Troy's done a nice job. He's fearless. Tyler Huntley is fearless, and he's you saw in the bowl game the way he ran. He runs hard, but he's got to live to play another snap. And so Coach Taylor has done a nice job of schooling him up on that.
Would you like to see him have more weight?
Tyler Huntley?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. I think he's ultimately going to be a 205-pound guy, but he's not right now. He's about $190.
Right.
So.
You talked last week about your top 3 corners. I think you said Hughes, Blackman, and Johnson were probably your top 3 corners. But who's your slot or your nickel corner right now?
Well, Booby Hobbs.
Okay.
And we took a hit, when we lost Tyrone Smith for the season and Tariq Lewis didn't make it. Those are 2 corners we were counting on, and so that thinned us out at corner real quick. We still feel like we got really good players back there, but we just don't have the depth that we would have had we had those 2 guys with us.
Is Chase going to be there for that first game, or you
We
maybe
hope so.
hold him out?
We hope so. We'll see. If he doesn't feel, if he feels anything less than 100%, then he's not going to play.
Is that kind of going to be across the board for a lot of guys? Just kind of, if they're not feeling great, this is the game.
Yeah,
to
we don't
maybe
want
rest
to take
them?
a step backward. We The worst thing you can do is play him a little too early, re-injury, and now you're looking at weeks and weeks again instead of a couple more days might have been the difference.
If you held him out, do you feel good about Afia and Blair
Very
and where
good.
they've been? I know you
Very
talked
good.
a lot about Phillip Burley, but how's Marquise come along?
He's come a long ways, and he's a heck of a football player. He played mostly linebacker last year, so it's some of the stuff is new to him. A lot of the stuff. There is some carryover with the strong safety position, but Phillip Afia is playing his best football as a Ute. Corian Ballard is had an exceptional spring and fall camp, so we'll be fine either way.
How comfortable are you guys feeling with your top 8 at wide receiver right now?
Very comfortable. That position group has undergone the biggest transformation since a year ago, and we've got at least 8 guys that we feel really good about.
With the diversity in the playbook, I mean, how much nicer is that for those players to kind of feel like they can just do a lot more than maybe in years past?
Well, they're certainly excited about what we got going. We got to go out and make the plays. You know, as I've said many times, there's a bunch of different offenses you can run. It all comes down to execution. I don't care what you're running. If you don't execute, it's not going to be successful.
Would you classify Samson Nakua as a little bit of a surprise of fall camp and where he is kind of on the hierarchy of wide receivers?
Not to me.
Okay.
I saw it coming in spring ball. When we made the change last fall from DB to wide receiver, you could tell right away that it was a natural move for him. Obviously redshirted last year, but then in spring he started to get some traction at the position, and it wasn't new to him because he was a high school receiver, and he was just a little bit thin. He still is a little thin, but he's put on 10, 15 pounds. But he does a lot of natural, instinctive things as a wide receiver that you can't teach.
After that, this long fall